The locker room echoed with the sharp clang of metal doors slamming shut. But for Adrianus Thompson, the real noise was the cruel whispers that followed him like shadows. In the heart of suburban Ohio at Lincoln High School, where football jerseys reigned supreme and conformity was the unwritten law, Adrianus had just been shoved against a row of lockers by a group of jocks, their laughter ringing out as they called him names that cut deeper than any bruise. He wiped the blood from his split lip, his heart pounding not just from fear, but from a burning resolve that this would be the last time he'd take it lying down. Adrianus was 16, with tousled brown hair and eyes that held a quiet intensity, the kind that made teachers praise his essays but classmates label him as different. He'd known he was gay since middle school, when crushes on boys in his class felt as natural as breathing, but coming out last year had turned his world into a battlefield. The bullying started small, notes in his locker, exclusion from group projects, but escalated when rumors spread after he was seen holding hands with Jamie, a quiet artist from the drama club. Jamie, with his easy smile and paint-stained fingers, had been Adrianus's first real connection, a spark that ignited in stolen moments behind the auditorium. Their relationship was tentative, built on shared secrets and late-night texts. But in a town where church steeples dotted the skyline and traditional values held sway, it was enough to make them targets. That afternoon, as Adrianus trudged home through the crisp autumn leaves, his mind raced with the day's humiliations. His father, Robert, a stoic mechanic who worked long hours at the local garage, was waiting in the living room when he arrived. Robert wasn't one for words. His support came in actions, like fixing Adrianus's bike without being asked or leaving dinner on the table after a late shift. But when Adrianus walked in with a bruised face, Robert's jaw tightened, his eyes flickering with something unspoken. "Who did this?" he asked gruffly, but Adrianus shook his head, not wanting to drag his dad into the mess. Robert had raised him alone since Adrianus's mom passed away when he was 10, and their bond was forged in silence, in the quiet evenings spent watching baseball games or tinkering with car engines. Adrianus wondered if his dad truly understood, or if the silence was a wall he couldn't breach. The next day at school, the tension simmered. In history class, Mr. Harlan, a veteran teacher with conservative leanings, lectured on civil rights, but when a student joked about gay rights being a fad, the room erupted in snickers. Adrianus felt his cheeks burn, but he raised his hand. "Actually, sir, discrimination against LGBTQ people is still a huge issue today," he said, his voice steady despite the knot in his stomach. The class fell silent, eyes darting to him like arrows. Mr. Harlan cleared his throat, steering the conversation back to the textbook, but Adrianus saw the disapproval in his gaze. Later, in the cafeteria, Jamie slid into the seat next to him, their knees brushing under the table, a small act of defiance. "You okay?" Jamie whispered, his hand hovering near Adrianus's. Adrianus nodded, but inside, a storm brewed. He was tired of hiding, tired of the whispers. That night, he confided in Jamie over the phone, their voices low as they dreamed of a world where they could just be. As weeks passed, the conflicts mounted. A petition circulated among students to ban inappropriate displays of affection on campus, clearly aimed at them after a photo of Adrianus and Jamie hugging went viral on the school's social media. Parents got involved, emailing the principal about protecting traditional values. Adrianus's grades slipped as anxiety gnawed at him, but he found solace in an online forum for LGBTQ youth, where stories of resilience inspired him. One evening, Robert overheard Adrianus on a call with Jamie, their laughter turning to serious talk about the bullying. Robert paused in the doorway, his expression unreadable, before retreating to his workshop. Adrianus wished he could read his dad's mind. Did he approve, disapprove, or was he just indifferent? The turning point came during a school assembly on tolerance. As the guest speaker droned on about diversity, a group of students in the back started chanting slurs under their breath. Adrianus stood up, his heart thundering. "This is bullshit," he said loudly, drawing gasps. "You're talking about tolerance, but you let this happen every day." The principal, Mrs. Keller, a no-nonsense woman in her 50s, pulled him aside afterward, warning him about disrupting events. But Adrianus didn't back down. "If you won't protect us, who will?" he challenged. Word spread, and suddenly, Adrianus wasn't just the outcast, he was the rebel. Jamie stood by him, their bond strengthening amid the chaos. But doubts crept in. Was fighting worth the risk? And where was his dad in all this? Robert's silence felt heavier than ever, a quiet presence that Adrianus both resented and craved. By mid-semester, alliances formed. A few students, inspired by Adrianus's stand, started a small LGBTQ support group, meeting in the library under the wary eye of the librarian. But opposition grew fiercer. One night, Adrianus's car tires were slashed in the school parking lot. A clear message. He reported it, but the investigation went nowhere, fueling his frustration. Jamie urged caution, their dates now confined to hidden spots like the old park on the town's outskirts, where they could share kisses without fear. Yet, the pressure tested their relationship. Jamie, from a more accepting family, sometimes wanted to pull back, while Adrianus pushed forward. "We can't just hide," Adrianus argued one evening as they sat on a bench, the sun setting in a blaze of orange. Jamie sighed, taking his hand. "But I don't want to lose you to this fight." Robert noticed the changes in Adrianus. The late nights, the defiant spark in his eyes. One weekend, he invited Adrianus to help with a car restoration project, their hands greasy as they worked side by side. No words about school or Jamie, just the hum of tools. But in that silence, Adrianus felt a shift, a subtle affirmation. As the part ended, the story's tensions simmered, ready to boil over in the coming conflicts. The winter chill settled over Lincoln High like a blanket of unease, mirroring the frost in Adrianus's relationships. The support group grew to 10 members, a mix of allies and closeted kids, but so did the backlash. An anonymous social media account dedicated to mocking them, posting memes that twisted Adrianus's words into caricatures. One post accused him of pushing an agenda, garnering hundreds of likes from students and even some parents. Adrianus scrolled through it late at night, his stomach twisting, but instead of retreating, he channeled the anger into action. He proposed a school-wide awareness event, petitioning Mrs. Keller for permission to host a panel on LGBTQ rights. To his surprise, she agreed, albeit reluctantly, citing district policies on inclusivity. The planning consumed Adrianus's days. He recruited speakers, including a local activist, and designed flyers with Jamie's artistic touch. Their collaboration deepened their connection. Long afternoons in the art room, debating colors while stealing glances that spoke volumes. Jamie's optimism balanced Adrianus's fire. "This could change things," he'd say, his fingers brushing Adrianus's as they worked. But doubts lingered. Adrianus worried about Jamie's safety, especially after a threatening note appeared in Jamie's locker. "Watch your back, freak." Robert's silence persisted, but cracks appeared. One evening, Adrianus found a stack of books on his desk. Titles like Raising LGBTQ Kids and Understanding Your Gay Teen. No note, no explanation, just there. Adrianus's eyes welled up. It was the first overt sign his dad was trying. He confronted Robert over dinner, the kitchen table a neutral ground. "You got these for me?" Adrianus asked. Robert nodded, fork midway to his mouth. "Figured you might need 'em," he muttered, avoiding eye contact. It wasn't a heartfelt talk, but for Robert, it was a leap. Adrianus felt a warmth spread through him, a quiet anchor amid the storm. The panel day arrived amid swirling rumors. The auditorium filled with students, some curious, others hostile. Adrianus moderated, his voice steady as the activist shared stories of discrimination. Questions flew, some genuine, like, "How can I support a gay friend?" Others barbed, like, "Isn't this against God's plan?" From a student in the front row. Adrianus responded calmly, drawing on his own experiences. But tension peaked when a parent interrupted from the back. "This is indoctrination," the man shouted, storming the stage. Security escorted him out, but the damage was done. The event made local news, painting the school as divided. In the aftermath, Adrianus faced suspension threats for inciting unrest. But allies rallied, collecting signatures to defend him. Jamie was there every step, their relationship a sanctuary. One snowy night, they escaped to a coffee shop downtown, sipping hot chocolate as they debriefed. "You were amazing up there," Jamie said, his eyes shining. Adrianus leaned in, their foreheads touching. "Couldn't do it without you." But the intimacy was bittersweet. Jamie's parents, more liberal, encouraged openness, while Adrianus navigated his dad's reticence alone. Social conflicts escalated. At a town hall meeting, parents debated school policies, with some advocating for parental rights over special privileges for LGBTQ students. Adrianus attended, speaking up despite nerves. "We're not asking for special treatment, just equality," he argued. Boos mixed with applause, highlighting the community's rift. Robert surprised him by showing up, sitting in the back row, arms crossed. He didn't speak, but his presence spoke volumes. Later, in the car ride home, Robert said, "Proud of you, kid." 2 words, but they shattered the silence like glass. Yet not all was progress. Jamie faced his own trials, a fallout with friends who distanced themselves, whispering about his choice. Their arguments grew. Jamie wanted to transfer schools, but Adrianus refused. "Running away won't fix it," Adrianus insisted during a heated walk in the park. Jamie stopped, tears in his eyes. "But staying might break us." The words hung heavy, testing their bond's resilience. Adrianus pulled him close, the cold air biting, but their embrace warm. As spring approached, the school's annual prom loomed, a flashpoint for controversy. Rumors swirled about banning same-sex couples, igniting debates in hallways. Adrianus saw an opportunity or a battleground. He organized a protest, flyers calling for inclusive policies. Support poured in from unexpected places. A teacher anonymously donated supplies, and online allies amplified the message. But opposition mounted. The anonymous account escalated to doxing threats. Adrianus's resolve hardened, fueled by Jamie's encouragement and Robert's evolving support. One night, Robert sat Adrianus down. "I ain't good with words, but I got your back," he said gruffly. It was enough to propel Adrianus forward, as the story's drama intensified toward inevitable confrontations. Spring blossoms brought no relief to the brewing storm at Lincoln High. The prom policy debate reached fever pitch when the school board announced a vote. Same-sex couples would be allowed, but with guidelines that felt like restrictions. Adrianus viewed it as a half-victory, but the backlash was swift. Graffiti appeared on his locker, "Fag out," and whispers turned to outright confrontations. In gym class, a shove from a bully named Trent, the football captain, led to a scuffle. Adrianus held his ground, fists clenched, but teachers broke it up, suspending both. "Zero tolerance," they said, but Adrianus knew it was uneven. Trent got slaps on the wrist before. Home became a refuge, where Robert's support solidified. He helped Adrianus appeal the suspension, attending the meeting with a quiet authority that intimidated the administrators. "My boy's just defending himself," Robert stated flatly. The suspension was reduced, a small win that bolstered Adrianus's spirits. Jamie, meanwhile, navigated his own emotional turmoil. His art reflected their struggles, canvases of intertwined figures against stormy backgrounds, symbolizing their love amid adversity. They spent evenings in Jamie's garage studio, painting and talking, their conversations deepening. "What if we go to prom together?" Jamie suggested tentatively. Adrianus grinned, the idea igniting hope. "Let's do it." But societal pressures weighed heavy. At a family gathering, Adrianus's extended relatives, conservative aunts and uncles, questioned his lifestyle, their words laced with judgment. Robert intervened subtly, changing the subject, but the tension lingered. Adrianus appreciated the gesture, but craved more vocal advocacy. "Why don't you say something?" he asked Robert later. "Actions speak louder," Robert replied, echoing his philosophy. It frustrated Adrianus, highlighting the generational gap, but also taught him patience. The protest gained momentum. Dozens of students joined a walkout, signs reading "Love is love," waving in the school courtyard. Media coverage amplified their voices, drawing both praise and vitriol. Online trolls targeted Adrianus, sending hate messages that chipped at his confidence. Jamie stood firm, their relationship a pillar. One rainy afternoon, they sought solace in a local LGBTQ center, attending a support group where stories of triumph inspired them. "We're not alone," Jamie whispered, squeezing Adrianus's hand. Conflicts peaked at the board meeting. Parents packed the room, arguments flying. A vocal opponent, Trent's father, railed against corrupting youth. Adrianus spoke last, his voice trembling but resolute. "Being gay isn't a choice, hating us is." Applause erupted from one side, boos from the other. Robert, in the audience, nodded approvingly, his silent encouragement a boost. The board upheld the inclusive policy, but with caveats that felt like compromises. Post-victory, strains emerged in Adrianus and Jamie's bond. Jamie's fear of escalation led to a fight. "What if someone hurts you?" he pleaded. Adrianus snapped. "Then we fight harder." They parted angry, spending days apart, the silence agonizing. Adrianus reflected on his choices, questioning if his activism pushed Jamie away. Robert noticed, offering unsolicited advice over breakfast. "Love ain't easy, especially when the world's against ya." It was the most he'd said on the topic, revealing layers to his quiet demeanor. Reconciliation came during a quiet evening walk. Jamie appeared at Adrianus's door, eyes red. "I can't lose you," he said. They embraced, vowing to face it together. As prom neared, excitement mixed with anxiety. They shopped for suits, laughing at ill-fitting options, their joy a rebellion. But threats loomed, a rumor of a counter-protest at prom. Adrianus prepared mentally, drawing strength from Jamie and Robert's unspoken alliance. The story's logic tightened as choices compounded. Adrianus's defiance inspired change, but at personal cost. A teacher confided in him, admitting her own struggles with identity, fueling his purpose. Yet, the community's divide deepened, with boycotts threatened against local businesses supporting the cause. Robert's garage faced whispers of lost customers, testing his resolve. He shrugged it off, telling Adrianus, "Worth it." The high drama built, leading to the climactic night where emotions and conflicts would collide. Prom night glittered under the gymnasium lights, but for Adrianus, it was a minefield of anticipation. He and Jamie arrived hand in hand, suits sharp and smiles tentative, drawing stares from the crowd. The theme was Enchanted Evening, but the air crackled with tension. Allies cheered them on, while others whispered or averted eyes. Trent and his crew loitered near the entrance, smirks promising trouble. Adrianus squeezed Jamie's hand, whispering, "We've got this." Inside, the music pulsed, couples dancing under streamers. Adrianus and Jamie swayed to a slow song, their bodies close but not overt, mindful of the guidelines. It was a moment of pure joy, their love on display. But midway through, disruption struck. A group of protesters, students and parents, barged in, signs decrying moral decay. Shouts erupted, chaos ensuing. Security intervened, but not before Trent approached Adrianus, shoving him. "You don't belong here," Trent snarled. Adrianus stood tall. "Neither does hate." Fists flew briefly before teachers separated them. The incident made headlines, polarizing the town further. Adrianus faced expulsion hearings, his future hanging in the balance. Jamie supported him tirelessly, their bond tested but unbreakable. Late nights poring over statements, they shared vulnerabilities. Jamie's fear of rejection, Adrianus's doubt in his methods. "Was it worth it?" Adrianus asked once, head on Jamie's shoulder. "Every second," Jamie replied, kissing his forehead. Robert stepped up in unexpected ways. He attended the hearing, speaking for the first time publicly. "My son's brave, prouder than words can say," he said simply, his voice steady. The board, moved by testimonies from allies, opted for community service instead of expulsion. It was a victory, but bittersweet, Trent faced minimal consequences, highlighting systemic biases. Post-prom, reflections deepened. Adrianus and Jamie's relationship evolved, more resilient. They planned future escapes, college in a bigger city, away from small-town scrutiny. But immediate challenges persisted. A community forum addressed the divide, with Adrianus facilitating discussions. Heated debates revealed prejudices, but also openings for understanding. One parent admitted, "I was wrong," sparking hope. Robert's transformation was subtle yet profound. He joined Adrianus at a pride event in nearby Cleveland, walking silently but present. "Didn't know what to expect," he admitted later. Adrianus hugged him, the silence finally bridged. Yet not all conflicts resolved neatly. Jamie's family faced backlash, straining relations. He confided in Adrianus, "Sometimes I wonder if we're fighting a losing battle." Adrianus reassured him, their love a counterpoint to doubt. As graduation approached, Adrianus's activism bore fruit. The school implemented anti-bullying workshops, crediting his efforts. But personal tolls mounted, lost friendships, emotional scars. In quiet moments, Adrianus questioned his father's initial silence. "Why wait so long?" he asked Robert one evening in the workshop. Robert paused, tools down. "Scared I'd say the wrong thing. But watching you taught me." It was a revelation, humanizing his dad's reticence. The story's kitsch tin peaked with a final confrontation. Trent approached Adrianus in the hallway, not with aggression, but apology. "I was an ass," he muttered. Adrianus accepted warily, seeing glimmers of change. Jamie beamed, progress. Their romance flourished, simple dates turning profound. As the narrative wove toward closure, emotions swirled. Triumph mixed with lingering pain, choices echoing in their lives. Graduation day dawned bright, the auditorium buzzing with caps and gowns. Adrianus walked the stage, diploma in hand, cheers from Jamie and Robert ringing loudest. It marked not just an end, but a testament to survival. In the months following, Adrianus and Jamie navigated new chapters, college applications, part-time jobs, but the scars of high school lingered. Their relationship matured, built on shared trials, with plans for a future together. Robert's support evolved into active involvement. He volunteered at the local LGBTQ center, his quiet strength inspiring others. Adrianus marveled at the change, their bond deeper. "Thanks for standing by me," Adrianus said one Father's Day, over a backyard barbecue. Robert clapped his shoulder. "Always did, just didn't say it." Yet, the town's divisions persisted. Some embraced change. More inclusive events reduced bullying reports, while others resisted, clinging to old views. Adrianus reflected on the journey. The hook of that first shove, the escalating conflicts, the romantic haven with Jamie, the silent paternal backing that proved pivotal. Logic dictated that change came from persistence, but emotions revealed the cost. Strained relationships, internal doubts. Controversial moments replayed in his mind. The panel interruption, the prom chaos, the uneven justice. They sparked debates. Did activism provoke unnecessary conflict? Was silent support truly enough? Adrianus's choices, driven by emotion, challenged norms, fostering growth amid pain. In the end, as Adrianus and Jamie drove toward their new life, hands intertwined, the story closed on a note of cautious optimism. But one question lingered, inviting reflection. Was Robert's silent backing a form of true allyship, or did it fall short in a world demanding vocal advocacy?